Before you decide whether to stay or move on, I need you to know one thing. You have been seen, not in the vague theological sense that God is omniscient and therefore technically aware of everything. Seen, specifically, personally. The things you have done that nobody else witnessed. The faithfulness you maintained in rooms where no one was watching. The choices you made when the only one who could have known either way was you. The effort you poured into situations that nobody applauded, and nobody acknowledged, and nobody even noticed. Every single one of those moments was watched by the one who matters, and tonight he has a word about what he saw. This message is for the one who has been doing the right thing in private for a long time, for the one who has been faithful in ways that do not show up in any public metric, for the one who has kept going in a season where the going has been quiet and unwitnessed and long, and who has sometimes wondered if any of it is registering anywhere that matters. It is registering in the place that matters most, and this message is the testimony of what was seen. Write "seen" in the comments if you believe tonight that God has been watching you. Just that one word, because putting your name on the receiving of this word is itself an act of faith. There is a passage that the people of God have returned to for thousands of years when they needed to know that the hidden faithfulness is not invisible to the one who matters. Psalm 139. You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You are familiar with all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you know it completely. This is not the surveillance of a suspicious authority looking for failure. This is the gaze of the one who loves what he made and watches it with the specific quality of attention that only the maker has. The way an artist watches their work, not to judge it, but because the watching is itself an expression of the love that made it. You have been watched with love. Every unseen moment of this season, loved and watched. Let me stay in Psalm 139 for a moment longer, because the full sweep of it is worth receiving tonight, in a season when the watching needs to be felt and not just stated. David wrote this psalm, and it is worth knowing something about where David wrote it from. This was not written in a season of triumph. David had seasons of extreme public humiliation, of being hunted by his own son Absalom, of sitting in the dark rooms of his own failure and the failure of the people around him, of long periods in which the faithfulness he was trying to maintain was not producing the visible results that would have made the faithfulness feel worthwhile. David knew the between time, and in the between time he wrote, You have searched me, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. Not only when I rise, when I sit. The watching is not only for the moments of activity, the moments of public faithfulness, the moments that make the record look good. The sitting is also watched. The sitting in the between time, the sitting on the threshing floor waiting for the morning, the sitting under the fig tree before anyone calls, the sitting in the back of the room at the dinner party where you do not feel like you belong. The sitting is as fully watched as the rising. You know when I sit, and you are familiar with all my ways, not the best of my ways, not the ways that are easiest to claim publicly, all of my ways. The ways that are complicated, the ways that are incomplete, the ways that are the mixed and imperfect expression of someone who loves the Lord and is also human and is also in a season and is also sometimes tired. All of my ways. The familiar watching, the watching that knows the pattern, that can identify the context, that has been present long enough to understand the background against which each choice is made. That is the watching that has been watching you. The one who watches you is familiar with all your ways, not just the ways you present for observation, all of them. Before a word is on my tongue, you know it completely. This is the watching that is one step ahead of the expression. Before you have found the words for the prayer, before the specific articulation of the specific need has been formed in the specific language of your conscious mind, the knowing is already complete. The watching catches the pre-verbal cry, the inarticulate reaching, the longing that has not yet found a sentence. It is known. The 2 coins that the widow dropped made a small sound. They had no voice, no explanation, no commentary, no advocacy for themselves. 2 small sounds. And Jesus named them the greatest gift in the room. The watching that works from within the knowing, before a word, before an explanation, before an argument, is the watching that caught the widow's 2 coins and heard in them everything that needed to be heard. My beloved, the longing in you tonight that has not yet found its full articulation, the needing to be seen that you may not have words for, is already known. Before you had a word for it, it was known. The reaching that brought you to this message tonight was already caught and held before you began reaching. The watching was there before you arrived. And the word being spoken tonight is the response to the watching, the delivering of the word about what was seen and known before the words were available to ask for it. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast. The exhaustive presence. The presence that has no gaps, no edges, no corners where the watching does not reach. If I make my bed in the depths of the difficulty, the depths of the discouragement, the depths of the between time that has been long, you are there. Not as a visitor who has come to check on the situation and will leave when the situation is stable. There, fixed, present, the right hand holding fast. Hold fast. The right hand does not hold loosely. It does not hold with the provisional grip of the one who might let go if the holding becomes inconvenient. It holds fast, the grip of the one who is stronger than what is trying to pull away. The right hand that holds fast through the seasons of the sitting and the seasons of the rising, through the private moments and the public moments, through the between time and the returning, through the night and through the morning. You have been held fast through this entire season, not because you maintained the grip from your side, because the right hand holds fast. The holding has been happening in every moment when the held person was not aware of being held. The wheat in the barley stalk does not know it is being held in the hand of the farmer. It simply grows. And you have been growing in the hold of the right hand that has been watching you grow. My precious child, I need you to receive this tonight, not as a theological statement to agree with before moving on, as the specific word for the specific moment you are in. The between time in which you have been maintaining the faithfulness has been held the entire time by a grip stronger than the season. Every private choice on every dark road has been held. Every 2-coin giving from the depleted resources has been held. Every fig tree moment has been held. Every broken alabaster jar has been held. Every between time doubling of the talent has been held in the right hand that holds fast. And the holding is not about to change. The watching continues. The holding continues. The right hand has not shifted its grip. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me, and the light become night around me, even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you. The darkness is as light to you. The season that has felt like darkness, the unwitnessed season, the between time when the visible light of approval and acknowledgement was low, that darkness was light to the one watching through it. The between time that felt dark was perfectly visible to the watcher. Nothing was hidden. Nothing was missed in the low light of the unrecognized season. The darkness of the unwitnessed was as completely observable as the brightness of the public triumph would have been. And the watching through the darkness produced the record, the faithful account of the between-time labor, that the master returns to find and declares, well done. I want to speak to you specifically about the pride part of this word, because I know that the word proud can feel unexpected when it is spoken in a divine context. We expect God to be loving. We expect Him to be merciful. We expect Him to be gracious and patient and long-suffering. But proud, the specific emotion of pride, the response of the one who watched something happen and was moved by the quality of what they saw. This is a more personal word, more specific, more intimate. The father in the parable of the prodigal son. When the son appeared on the road, while the father was still a long way off, the father ran to meet him. He did not walk with dignified satisfaction. He ran. The running of the father is the running of the one who has been watching the road, watching for the return, and who, when the watching produced the sight of the child coming home, could not contain the response. He ran, he embraced. He called for the robe, and the ring, and the sandals, and the celebration. He said, "My son was dead, and is alive again. He was lost, and is found." The emotion of the father is the emotion of the one who has been watching, and whose watching has produced a specific, contained, barely manageable joy at what was seen. That is the quality of the proud that I am speaking over you tonight. Not the detached pride of the evaluator who has reviewed the performance and assigned the grade. The running down the road pride of the father who was watching for you, and when you came into view, was so moved by what the watching produced that the response could not be contained in stillness. I have been watching for you, and when you came into view, when the quality of your faithfulness in the field became visible to me from across the grain, when the 2 coins dropped at the treasury, were seen for what they actually were, when the fig tree moment was observed in the full quality of its private seeking, when the alabaster jar was broken and the fragrance filled the room, the response that was produced in the watching was the running to meet you response, the robe and ring and celebration response. The my child, who was faithful through the between time, is returning response. I am proud of you. This is the word of the Father who ran. Not a measured approval, but a moved, specific, personal, barely containable response to what the watching has seen. You are the one for whom the watching was prepared. You are the one whose faithfulness moved the watcher. You are the one whose 2 coins stopped the lesson and produced the declaration. You are the one whose fig tree was already being watched before the conversation that changed everything had begun. You are the one whose alabaster jar made the watcher turn specifically toward the person everyone else was turning away from. You are the one, and tonight, I am proud. My beloved, I want you to understand something about the way I see the things you do when nobody is watching. The world measures faithfulness by what is visible, by the output that can be counted, the effort that can be applauded, the sacrifice that can be witnessed and credited. But I do not measure by visibility. I measure by the actual quality of the thing, the actual texture of the faithfulness, the actual cost of the choice, the actual depth of the love that motivated the act. And the things done in private, the choices made when nobody was watching, the faithfulness maintained in the unseen rooms, those things often have the highest actual quality of any act in a person's life, because the absence of an audience removes the possibility of performance. What remains is the pure thing, the choice made because it is the right choice, the faithfulness maintained because the one it is offered to is worth the faithfulness, regardless of whether anyone is watching. That is what I have been watching, and it is extraordinary. My precious child, tonight I want to take you into 5 stories. 5 people who were doing something in the quiet, in the unwitnessed, in the overlooked, and who discovered that the one watching from a perspective no human observer holds had seen every moment of it and had a specific word about what he saw. These are not stories of the dramatic and the public. They are stories of the faithful and the hidden, and they are your story. Before we go into the stories, I want to sit with you for a moment in the space of the watching itself, because I know that some of you tonight are not entirely sure the watching is real, not as a formal theological position. You believe in God, you know the scripture, you have made your peace with the doctrine of divine omniscience, but as a lived, felt, practical reality, the sense that the things you have been doing in the quiet are actually being observed by someone who cares and who is building a record and who has a specific response to what they have seen. That is the thing that can be hard to hold on to in the long between time. The doctrine can be intact while the felt reality slips away. And I want to meet you in that uncertainty tonight, not to argue you past it, but to offer you the specific evidence that the 5 people in these stories were offered. The evidence of being told something about a private moment that only the watching God could have known. Because that evidence, the I saw you under the fig tree evidence, the I've been told all about what you have done evidence, is not addressed to the intellect that needs a better argument for divine omniscience. It is addressed to the heart that needs a specific sign, a personal, particular, just for you sign that says, yes, I am real. Yes, I was watching. Yes, I saw that specific moment that felt invisible to you. And here is the thing about the 5 people in these stories. Each of them received the evidence of the watching in the way that was right for them. Nathanael received it as a fact named, I saw you under the fig tree. And the specificity of the naming was the sign. Ruth received it as a report. I have been told all about what you have done. The evidence that the watching had produced a report in the community she had joined. The widow received it as a declaration spoken publicly by the one who was watching. The woman with the alabaster jar received it as a turning, the physical turning of the body of Jesus toward her, the specific attention given to the specific act. And the faithful servant received it as an accounting. The master returned and opened the books, and the account was good. The evidence of the watching comes in different forms for different people. Some of you will receive it tonight as a specific knowing, a moment of clarity in which you simply know, in a way that is not explicable but is completely unmistakable, that the private moment was seen. Some of you will receive it as a testimony from another person, someone who tells you something about what they observed in you that you did not know was visible. Some of you will receive it as a change in circumstances, a grain dropped on purpose in the rows behind you, a provision that arrives in greater quantity than you expected, a morning that opens differently than the evenings of the between time suggested it would. Some of you will receive it as this word, right now, the specific accumulation of the things I have been saying to you tonight, that corresponds so precisely to the actual content of your actual season, that the correspondence itself is the sign. Receive the evidence in the form it comes. Do not hold out for the form you imagined. The watching God delivers the proof of the watching in the form that will land in the specific heart of the specific person who needs to receive it. And it is being delivered now. My beloved, there is also something important about the fact that the watching was happening before the evidence was delivered. Boaz knew what Ruth had done before he spoke to her. Jesus had been watching the widow before he called the disciples over. The watching produced the account before the account was revealed. The knowing existed before the knowing was shared. And this means that the watching is not dependent on whether you know about it, or feel it, or are aware of it in the moment. It is simply happening. In every moment that felt invisible, the watching was there. In every choice you made in the dark, the watching was there. In every quiet room, and every private moment, and every 2-coin giving, and every fig tree sitting, the watching was there. Not because you were performing, or because you had any sense that it was happening. Simply because the watcher watches. That is what the watcher does, and you have been watched, this whole season, every moment of it. The watching is not beginning tonight because you showed up for this message. The watching was already in progress before you knew this message existed. The account is already built. The record is already kept, and the word of tonight, I have been watching you, and I am proud of what I see, is not the beginning of the watching. It is the delivering of the word about the watching that has been happening all along. The first story begins in a field at harvest time, in a country that was not her own. Her name was Ruth. She had made a choice that most people in her situation would not have made, a choice that was, in strictly practical terms, against her own interest. The choice of the person who refuses to put themselves first when someone they love needs them. She was a Moabite woman who had been married to an Israelite man. The man died. His mother, Naomi, was also widowed and old and had nothing to offer Ruth in terms of future security or social standing. The culturally reasonable thing, the thing that Naomi herself urged Ruth to do, was to go back to her own people and her own gods and build a new life. Ruth's sister-in-law Orpah did exactly this. She wept, she kissed Naomi goodbye, and she went back. Ruth would not go. What Ruth said to Naomi at that moment is one of the most compressed and complete expressions of covenantal love in the entire scripture. Words that have been repeated at weddings and funerals and deathbeds for 3,000 years. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if even death separates you and me. These words were not spoken before an audience. They were spoken on a road, to a destitute old woman who had nothing to give in return, in a private moment of complete and costly decision. No one who would have had any power to reward the choice witnessed it. Ruth made a decision that changed the entire trajectory of her life, away from safety, toward an uncertain future in a foreign country with an old woman she loved, and she made it quietly. And then they arrived in Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. And Ruth asked Naomi if she could go to the fields and glean behind the harvesters, picking up what the reapers left behind, which was the provision the law made for the poor. It was labor. It was not glamorous labor. It was the work of the person at the bottom of the economic hierarchy, moving through the harvested rows in the heat, picking up the stalks the workers had dropped. She did not complain about the work. She did not lobby for a better position. She showed up in the field and she gleaned. She happened, the word uses that specific phrase, she happened, to come to the portion of the field belonging to a man named Boaz. She did not know whose field it was. She was just working. And Boaz arrived from Bethlehem and greeted his harvesters and immediately asked, "Whose young woman is that?" "My precious child, I want you to sit in that question for a moment." Boaz came to his field and his eye went immediately to Ruth, not because she had done anything to attract attention, because the quality of what he was observing was visible to someone who was watching with the right eyes. He asked, and the overseer told him what he had observed. "She is the Moabite who came back from Moab with Naomi." She asked. She came and has been working steadily from morning till now. Steadily, from morning till now. She had not known she was being observed. She had not been performing faithfulness for an audience. She had simply been doing what she came to do, with the quality and consistency that had characterized every choice she had made since the road when she chose to stay. And Boaz had been watching, and what he saw moved him to go directly to her with a word that changed everything. He said to her, "My daughter, listen to me. Don't go and glean in another field, and don't go away from here. Stay here with my servant girls. I have told the men not to touch you. And whenever you are thirsty, go and get a drink from the water jars the men have filled." And she fell at his feet and asked, "Why have I found such favor in your eyes, I who am a foreigner?" And Boaz answered, "I've been told all about what you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband, how you left your father and mother and your homeland and came to live with a people you did not know before. The Lord repay you for what you have done. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge. I've been told all about what you have done." My beloved, Boaz had been told. The faithfulness Ruth demonstrated on that road, the private, unwitnessed, costly decision to stay, had been known, discussed, observed, and preserved in the community long before she arrived in his field. The quiet faithfulness was not invisible. It had been seen, reported, remembered. And the first word Boaz spoke to Ruth about what he had heard was not a neutral report. It was a blessing, a specific prayer for the specific reward of the specific faithfulness he had been told about. The Lord repay you for what you have done. The faithfulness you showed, the choice you made on the road when nobody with power to reward you was watching, is known, and the reward being called down on you is the reward of the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge. My dear one, you are Ruth in the field. You have been working steadily from morning till now, in the rows that are yours, with the quality that comes from the person who is doing the work because the work is worth doing, not because someone is watching to give credit. And the one who is watching has told all about what you have done. The faithfulness you thought was private has been seen and reported in the dimension that matters. And the word being spoken over you tonight is the same word Boaz spoke over Ruth in the field. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge. The reward of the faithfulness is not the applause of the people who did not notice it. It is the specific provision of the God who watched every step of it. Ruth ended that day with more food than she could carry. She returned to Naomi with enough barley, and also the cooked food Boaz had set aside for her. And the story that had begun with bereavement and loss, and the decision to stay, was already, in one day of quiet, faithful work in a field she had no connection to, beginning to turn in a direction she could not have planned or orchestrated. The field you are working in quietly is turning. The faithfulness you have maintained without an audience is being watched. And the word about to be spoken over you is, "I've been told all about what you have done." My precious child, I want to stay inside the Ruth story a little longer, because there is more in it than the surface reveals, and the surface is already extraordinary. Consider the full weight of what Ruth chose when she chose to stay. Naomi told her, plainly, the practical reality: "I have no more sons for you to marry. Even if I were to remarry tonight and bear sons, would you wait for them to grow up? No, go back to your people. Orpah has gone. There is nothing here for you." This was not a reluctant release. It was a clear-eyed assessment of the material situation, offered by someone who loved Ruth enough to tell her the truth instead of holding on to her for comfort. There is no future here. Go build your future elsewhere. And Ruth looked at that assessment, the honest, compassionate, accurate description of the empty situation, and she said, "Where you go, I will go." The choice of Ruth is the choice to stay in the place of depletion for the sake of the love that matters, when the practical calculation says there is nothing here for you. And the deep thing is that Ruth did not make this choice because she could see how it would turn out. She could not see Boaz. She could not see the field of harvest waiting for her in Bethlehem. She could not see the line of blessing that ran through her faithfulness all the way to David, and through David to the one who carries the whole weight of human hope. She made the choice in the dark, choosing love over security, faithfulness over advantage, the person over the prospect, before she knew any of what was coming. My beloved, this is why the watching matters, because the person who cannot see the outcome of their faithful choice, who is making the costly decision in the dark, with no knowledge of how it will resolve, that person needs to know that the choice is being seen from a vantage point that holds the whole story. Ruth stayed on the road in the dark, choosing faithfulness over every visible alternative, not knowing what was ahead. And the vantage point from which her choice was watched was the vantage point that held Boaz in it, held the field of harvest in it, held the line through which the world's redemption would come. The watching encompasses all of what the faithful person cannot yet see, and the watching holds the outcome in view, while the faithful person holds only the present moment of costly choice. You are making costly choices in moments where you cannot see the outcome. The road is in front of you and behind you, and what is ahead is not yet visible, and you are deciding to stay in the place of faithfulness when every practical calculation presents alternatives. I am watching from the vantage point that holds all of it, the field that is ahead, the harvest that is coming, the word being prepared for the moment when the owner of the field looks up from across the grain and asks, "Whose is that? Tell me about her. Tell me everything she has done." And then consider what happened after Boaz gave Ruth the specific blessing. After he prayed over her the prayer for the rich reward of her faithfulness, Ruth sat down among the harvesters, and Boaz himself offered her roasted grain, and she ate until she was satisfied, and she had some left over. In the middle of the day she got up to glean, and Boaz commanded his young men, "Let fall some grain from the bundles on purpose for her, and leave it for her to pick up." On purpose, my dear one, the owner of the field had seen her, and having seen her and spoken the word over her, he began actively working on her behalf in ways she was not yet aware of. She was gleaning, working in the ordinary way, doing the faithful work of the one who accepts the provision available to her without grasping for more. And behind her, in the rows she had already passed through, the harvesters were dropping extra grain on purpose, because the owner of the field had given the instruction without her knowing. And she came home that evening with far more than she expected. And Naomi asked, "Where did you glean today?" And when Naomi heard the name of Boaz, she said, "The Lord bless him. He has not stopped showing his kindness to the living and the dead," the behind-the-scenes provision for the faithful one who simply keeps working. The extra grain dropped on purpose in the rows behind you, the provision prepared by the one who owns the field, given without fanfare, discovered at the end of the day when the load is heavier than expected and the question arises, where did all this come from? My precious child, there is provision being prepared in the rows you have already passed through. The owner of the field has given the instruction, leave extra for her, let it fall on purpose. She has been working faithfully from morning till now, and the blessing I am sending into her path is more than she asked for and more than she knew was being arranged. The end of this working day is going to produce a weight she will need to be told about. Where did this come from? And the answer is, the one who was watching arranged it while you kept working. And consider the nights on the threshing floor. Naomi told Ruth, "Wash and put on your best clothes, go down to the threshing floor tonight." And at midnight Boaz woke up and found a woman lying at his feet. And Ruth told him who she was. And Boaz spoke the word that sealed the redemption. "The Lord bless you. You have not run after younger men, whether rich or poor. And now, my daughter, don't be afraid. I will do for you all you ask." Every town knows you are a woman of noble character. Every town knows the faithfulness that Ruth had maintained, the choice on the road, the quiet work in the field, the careful steps of every day in this foreign land, had been observed, discussed, known and preserved in the community long before this night, not just by Boaz, by every town. The quiet faithfulness had been building a reputation in the community around her that she could not have manufactured through self-promotion. It had simply grown from the consistent quality of who she was and what she chose, day after day, in the ordinary moments that she did not know were being watched and reported. Ishat Hayil, woman of noble character. This is the phrase that opens Proverbs 31, the great poem of the faithful woman whose worth is far above rubies, who is trusted by the ones who love her, who rises while it is still night, who opens her hands to the poor, whose lamp does not go out at night, who is clothed with strength and dignity, and who laughs at the days to come. This is the designation the town already had for Ruth before the night on the threshing floor, based on nothing but the observable quality of her choices in the ordinary days. My beloved, every town knows the consistent faithfulness you have maintained in the ordinary days, the choices made on the road, the work done steadily in the field, the quality maintained when no single person was making a specific note, has been building a testimony in the community around you that you may not be fully aware of. The watcher, who has seen the full quality and full cost of every faithful choice, has the complete account, and the account says, noble character, and the blessing prepared for the faithful one is proportional to the watching that recorded every detail of the faithful season. The field you are working in quietly is turning toward harvest. Now I want to take you to the treasury of the temple, where Jesus sat down across from where the offerings were collected and watched. The word says it specifically. He sat down opposite the treasury, and he watched. This was not accidental, this was deliberate. He positioned himself specifically to observe what was happening at the place where people brought their offerings, and a great crowd was bringing their gifts. Many rich people threw in large amounts. He watched. And then a poor widow came and put in 2 very small copper coins, worth less than a penny. 2 coins, the smallest possible contribution, the amount that, if you were giving in the context of the large gifts being brought by the wealthy, would have registered as essentially nothing. The kind of gift that goes unnoticed because the person giving it is unnoticed and the amount is too small to register in any ledger that matters to the people managing the treasury. And Jesus called his disciples to him. He did not call them to watch the wealthy bringing their large amounts. He called them specifically to witness what he was about to say about the 2 coins. He sat down, he watched, he called the disciples, and he said, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put in more than all the others. All these people gave out of their wealth. But she, out of her poverty, put in everything. All she had to live on. Everything. All she had to live on. My precious child, I want you to sit inside that assessment for a moment. By every visible measure, the widow's contribution was the smallest. By the measure of the one who was watching, the one who saw not the amount given, but the cost of the giving, not the surface of the act, but the depth of it, not what remained after the gift, but what was surrendered in the giving. By that measure, she gave more than all of them combined. The rich people gave out of their abundance. What they gave did not require the surrender of security. What remained was more than enough. The gift, however large in absolute terms, cost them nothing in terms of what they depended on. It was generosity that did not require risk. The widow gave out of her poverty. What she gave was everything she had to live on. The giving required the complete surrender of the material security that the 2 coins represented. After the gift, there was nothing. That is a different quality of giving than the gift that leaves plenty. And it is the quality that the one watching specifically calls out as more than all the others. For the one who has been giving in a season of poverty, not necessarily financial poverty, though perhaps that too, but the poverty of the person who has been giving out of what is running low. The energy given to others when your own reserves are depleted. The attention offered when your capacity for attention has been stretched thin. The presence maintained for the people who need you when your own need has not been met. The encouragement spoken when you yourself needed encouragement. The faithfulness offered to the commitments you made when the season has made the maintaining of those commitments costly in ways you did not anticipate. The giving out of poverty. The 2 coins giving. The all she had to live on giving. That is the giving that the one who watches calls out as more than all the others. My beloved, the contribution you have been making in the season of your own depletion has not gone unnoticed by the one who seated himself specifically to watch. He saw the cost. He saw what it took to keep giving when the reserves were low. He saw the 2 coins, the specific form of the everything you had to live on sacrifice in your life, and he called the ones around him to attention. Look at what this person is doing. This is what I see, more than all the others. The assessment of the treasury manager, looking at the visible ledger, would have assigned the widow's contribution almost no significance. The assessment of the one watching from the perspective of actual cost and actual surrender assigns it the highest significance of anyone who gave that day. The public evaluation and the evaluation of the watching God are sometimes, in the cases that matter most, complete opposites. The person the world considers the smallest contribution is the person God says gave the most. If you are still here, type Amen, because the staying is the 2 coins. The showing up to receive this word in the quiet of this night is the everything you have to live on offering of attention and hope, and it has been received. My dear one, I want to go deeper into the widow's story, because the watching of Jesus at the treasury is one of the most deliberately described acts of divine observation in the entire gospel record. He sat down, he positioned himself, he chose a place of observation and took it on purpose. This was not accidental noticing. This was the intentional, deliberate, purposeful watching of the one who knows exactly where to sit and exactly what to look for and exactly what the observation will reveal. The word says he sat down opposite the treasury. He was facing it. His full attention was directed toward it. Many rich people came and threw in large amounts, and he watched all of them. He observed the full picture, the complete range of giving that was happening at that place on that day. And then the widow came, and she came into the watching that was already happening, into the space of the observation that was already fully active and fully attentive. She did not arrive to a casual glance. She arrived to the full, intentional, seated attention of the one whose watching sees through the visible surface to the actual depth. And he saw her 2 coins, in the middle of all the other giving, against the backdrop of all the large amounts. He saw the 2 coins, and he saw their cost. He saw not just the surface, 2 copper coins, small, essentially negligible, but the depth, all she had to live on. The surface and the depth were simultaneously visible to the watching that sees with love. And the depth, the actual cost, the actual surrender, the actual giving from poverty quality of the gift, was the thing that made the watching produce the calling of the disciples, the turning to address the moment. My dear one, I want you to go deeper into the widow's story, because there is something here that is specifically for the one who has been giving in the season of her own need, and I want you to feel the full weight of what the watching means for you. The widow came to the temple in her poverty. She came to the place of worship, to the place where the community of faith gathers and where the formal giving happens, and she brought what she had, 2 leptons, the smallest denomination of coin in circulation in 1st century Judea. The kind of coin that clinks when it drops, a small, definitive sound, not the heavy thud of the wealthy donor's bag of silver, 2 small clinks, and then she walked away. She did not wait to see if anyone noticed. She did not look around for acknowledgement. She did not calculate whether her contribution would be enough to impress anyone or to meet any threshold of visibility. She gave what she had, and she went on. That is the whole of her appearance in the story. She arrives, she gives, she leaves. She has no name in the text. She says nothing. She is described only by her poverty and her gift, and yet she is the one Jesus stops everything to point at. In a public setting, with his disciples around him, he calls them over specifically and says, "Watch this. This is the most important thing you will observe in this space today. And here is what I see. My precious child." What would it have meant to the widow to know that this was happening? She gave her 2 coins in the ordinary way, the anonymous, quiet way of the person who has no leverage in the system, who has no claim on anyone's attention, who just comes and gives from the small amount available. She had no way of knowing that the one who matters most was watching, that he had positioned himself specifically opposite the treasury to observe, that her gift was the one that would stop the entire day's lesson and produce the declaration that her gift was more than all the others combined. This is the thing I want you to receive tonight. The giving you do in the anonymous, quiet way, the giving that you do not expect anyone to notice, the contribution that you offer from your poverty without calculating whether it will register, is the giving that stops heaven's attention, not the gifts of the people who can afford to give extravagantly from their abundance without cost. The 2-coin gift, the everything I have to live on gift, the giving that nobody in the room thinks is significant. That is the one that Jesus specifically calls his disciples to witness and names as more than all the others. There is something in the specific quality of the gift that is given from poverty that captures divine attention in a way that the gift from abundance does not. Not because poverty is virtuous in itself, but because the gift from poverty reveals the actual posture of the giver's heart in a way that the gift from abundance cannot prove. The wealthy donor may love generously or may give for appearance. You cannot tell from the size of the gift alone, because the gift costs nothing from their security. The gift from poverty proves the posture because the giver is surrendering the security itself. The 2 coins were not extra. They were the living, and giving the living proves that the giver trusts the one they give it to more than the coins themselves. That is what Jesus saw in the widow's gift, and it is what he sees in yours. The season of your own depletion, the season in which you have been giving from the running low, pouring out from the emptying place, is the season in which the quality of your giving has been most clearly visible to the one who watches, not despite the poverty of the season, because of it. The 2-coin gift in the season of poverty is the most transparent gift you will ever make, because it cannot be about appearance, it is pure gift. And the pure gift is the one that the pure watcher watches with the specific quality of attention that calls the people around him over and says, "Look at this. This is extraordinary. This is more than all the others." And then there is the question of what happened to the widow after she left the treasury. The word does not tell us. We have only the moment of the giving and the word of Jesus about the giving. She walked away into the ordinary day, not knowing she had just been named the greatest giver in the temple, not knowing that 2,000 years later her 2 coins would still be being spoken about wherever the good news goes. She had no access to what the watching produced. She simply gave and went on. My beloved, you do not always have access to what the watching produces in real time. The assessment of the gift is made by the one who is watching, and the declaration of the worth of the gift is made at the time and in the way that the watcher determines. But the watching is happening. The assessment is being made. The declaration is being prepared. The one who seated himself across from your treasury is watching what you put in, and his assessment of the actual worth of your gift is the only assessment that is worth anything. And that assessment says, more than all the others, more than all the others. Go on now, beloved. Go on in the peace of the one who watched and called it the greatest gift in the room. Before you knew anyone was watching, I want to take you to a moment under a fig tree. His name was Nathanael. He appears in the Gospel of John at the very beginning of Jesus' public ministry. Philip finds him and tells him, "We have found the one Moses wrote about in the law, and about whom the prophets also wrote, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph." And Nathanael's response is honest and unimpressed. "Nazareth, can anything good come from there?" Philip's answer is not an argument. It is the only sufficient response to that kind of question. Come and see. So Nathanael came. He walked toward Jesus, and Jesus saw him coming and said, before Nathanael had spoken a word, before they had been introduced, before any exchange had taken place, "Here truly is an Israelite, in whom there is no deceit." Nathanael was surprised. "How do you know me?" he asked. And Jesus answered, "I saw you while you were still under the fig tree, before Philip called you. Before Philip called you, my precious child." I want you to feel the specific texture of that phrase. There was a moment, private, unwitnessed by any other person present in this scene, sometime before Philip arrived and told Nathanael the news, when Nathanael was under a fig tree. We do not know what he was doing there. The word does not tell us, but the context of the exchange, the reference to his honesty, to his being an Israelite without deceit, suggests something about the quality of the private moment. This was a person who was, in private, exactly what he appeared to be in public, a person without deceit. And in the private moment under the fig tree, whatever prayer or seeking or simply being that constituted that moment, Jesus saw him, before Philip called you, before the conversation that would change his life began, before he had any way of knowing that anything was about to happen. In the ordinary private moment of the day, under a tree, alone, he was seen. And when he heard this, Nathanael's entire skepticism dissolved. The man who had just asked whether anything good could come from Nazareth said, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel." The private moment that only the one watching could have known, the moment of being seen before you knew you were being seen, was the specific evidence that dismantled the doubt and produced the declaration of faith. My dear one, there is a private moment in your life that corresponds to the fig tree, the moment, or the extended season of moments, where you have been, in private, exactly what you are in public, where the prayer or the seeking or the simply being has been happening in the quiet, before anyone called you, before the conversation that was about to change things had begun, the moment that felt ordinary, unimportant, unobserved, the fig tree under which you have been sitting. I saw you there, not in the moment after the public declaration of faith, in the quiet moment before the conversation that set everything in motion, in the private moment of the ordinary day, before you knew anything was about to happen. I saw you under the fig tree. And the word that follows the seeing is the same word that followed the seeing of Nathanael, the specific knowledge of you that only the one watching from that perspective could have, the knowledge that dismantles the doubt, the evidence of being seen that produces the declaration, "You are the Son of God, you are real, you are present, you know me." The fig tree moment is the private evidence of the personal God who watches in the private moments before the public ones, and you have been seen in yours. My precious child, I want to go deeper into the Nathanael story. and specifically into this fig tree moment, because it carries a weight that the surface only hints at, and because the specific quality of the exchange between Jesus and Nathanael holds something that you need to receive personally and completely tonight. The fig tree, in the Jewish world of Nathanael's time, was a place associated with study, with prayer, and with private reflection. The rabbis taught in the open air, often under trees. The pious person would find a quiet place, often under a fig tree, whose broad leaves provided shade, to pray and study and seek the Lord. The fig tree was, in that world, the place of the private seeker, the place where a person went to be alone with God. Not the synagogue, which was the public place of worship. Not the street, where one might be seen. The private place, the seeker's place. When Jesus said, "I saw you under the fig tree," he was naming the private place of Nathanael's seeking. The place where Nathanael had gone to be with God without an audience. The place that no human being present in the scene of their meeting could have known about, because it was private, and it was personal, and it was between Nathanael and God. The naming of the fig tree was the naming of the private seeking, and it was the proof that the private seeking had not been private from the one who watched it. I was there, in the private place. I saw the seeking. The fig tree was not outside my sight. The private prayer was not outside my hearing. The quiet reflection was not outside my knowledge. I was there, and what I saw, the seeking, the honesty, the Israelite in whom there is no deceit, is the basis of everything I am about to say to you and call you into. My precious child, I want to go deeper into this fig tree moment, because it carries a weight that the surface of the story only hints at. When Jesus said to Nathanael, "I saw you while you were still under the fig tree, before Philip called you," Nathanael's response was not measured or gradual. The skeptic who had just questioned whether anything good could come from Nazareth was immediately and completely transformed. He said, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel." There is no hesitation in this declaration, no qualification, no request for further evidence. One sentence from Jesus about one private moment, and the whole fortress of skepticism collapsed into complete confession of faith. Why did the fig tree moment produce that response? What was it about being told, "I saw you there," in that private place, before anyone called you, that broke through all of Nathanael's doubt immediately? I think it is because the fig tree moment was the moment that only God could have seen. Not a moment in public, not a moment with witnesses, not a moment that could have been reported by a third party. A private moment, under a tree, alone. The kind of moment that exists only between the person and God. And when Jesus named it, specifically, without detail, without explanation, just named the fact of the seeing, Nathanael recognized that the only one who could have seen that moment was the one he had been seeking in that moment. The seeing of the private thing was the proof that the personal God is real. My beloved, the fig tree under which you have been sitting is the moment that you cannot explain how God could know unless God is real and personal and specifically present. The moment of private seeking, private prayer, private wrestling. The moment that you offered to heaven with no audience, in the quiet of the ordinary day, in the place that no other human being witnessed. The seeing of that moment, the specific named knowledge that yes, I was there, I saw you, I have been watching, is the evidence that collapses the doubt. Not because you needed proof that God is omniscient, but because the private moment was the moment you offered specifically to God, and the naming of it is the confirmation that the offering was received. There is something else in Nathanael's story that matters here. Jesus said to him, "I saw you under the fig tree." But what Jesus did not say, what was implied in the saying, was everything about what the seeing meant. I saw you in your private seeking. I saw the quality of your attention to what matters. I saw the honesty, the Israelite, in whom there is no deceit, that is revealed when a person is alone and there is no audience to perform for. I saw who you actually are when no one is watching, and what I saw is the basis for what I am about to call you into. Because immediately after this exchange, what does Jesus say? He says, "You believe because I told you I saw you under the fig tree. You will see greater things than that. Truly I tell you, you will see heaven open and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man." The fig tree moment, the private, ordinary, unwitnessed moment, was the specific observation that prepared Nathanael for the declaration that he was about to see extraordinary things. The seeing in the ordinary prepared the way for the extraordinary. My dear one, The extraordinary that is coming has been prepared in the ordinary private moments that were watched. The fig tree watching was not separate from the greater things, it was the foundation of them. The one who saw you in the quiet and unhurried private moments is the one who says, "You will see greater things than this." The private season of faithful quiet seeking, the fig tree season, the under the tree before anyone called you season, is the foundation of the open heaven that is coming. And the watching that took place in the ordinary is the evidence of the personal God who is now ready to show you the extraordinary. I saw you while you were still under the fig tree, before Philip called you, before anything happened, in the ordinary private day. And what I saw was exactly the foundation of what I am about to call you into. Come, you will see greater things than this. My precious child, I want to take a moment here between these two stories, the fig tree and what comes next, to let you feel the pattern that is emerging in the watching. In the field with Ruth, the watching caught the faithfulness in the public but unnoticed space. The field was not private. There were harvesters around her, but no human eye in that field was watching the quality of her faithfulness, with the specific quality of attention that caught it as noble character. The public space can be as effectively invisible as the private space, when the thing being done is the kind of thing that the observers around it do not have the categories to recognize. The watching God watched Ruth in the public but unnoticed, and the watching caught everything the other eyes missed. At the treasury, the watching caught the giving in the institutional space. The temple treasury was the formal, organized, public-facing system of religious giving. The widow's 2 coins passed through that system in the most unregarded way, dropped, not thrown, 2 small sounds among many larger sounds. The system did not notice her. The institution registered her contribution at its surface value, which was essentially 0. But the one who sat down across from the system and watched it with the eyes of love saw through the institutional surface to the depth of the actual giving. The institutional space can be as invisible-making as the private space, when the institutional metrics are not designed to measure what actually matters. The watching God watched the widow at the treasury, and the watching caught everything the institution's ledger missed. And then we came to the fig tree, the private, personal, seeking alone space, the most private of the 3, no field, no treasury, no institution, just a person alone under a tree, seeking God in the quiet. And the watching was there too. The watching that catches the public but unnoticed, and the institutional but unmeasured, also catches the private and alone. The watching has no blind spots. The field, the treasury, and the fig tree are all equally visible to the one who watches with love. There is no space that is outside the observation. There is no category of moment, public, institutional, or private, that the watching cannot see. My dear one, I tell you this because I know there are moments in your life that feel like they fall into different categories of visibility. Some things you do are public. They happen in the open and can theoretically be observed by others, but somehow nobody notices the quality of what you're actually doing. Some things you do happen inside systems and institutions, in workplaces, in organizations, in the formal structures of community life, where the measurement systems are not designed to see the actual depth of your faithfulness, only the visible outputs. And some things you do are completely private, just you and God and the fig tree, the prayer that no one heard, the choice that no one witnessed, the faith that lived only in the interior of your own heart and was offered silently to the one you hoped was listening. All 3 categories, watched, equally, completely, with the same quality of love and attention. The faithfulness in the public field is as seen as the faithfulness under the private tree. The giving in the institutional treasury is as known as the prayer in the personal quiet. There is no hierarchy of visibility from the perspective of the one who watches with love. Every space is equally observed. Every moment in every space is equally held. This is the God who is watching you, not the God who sees the big moments and misses the small ones. Not the God who sees the public acts and misses the private ones. Not the God who sees the institutional giving and misses the giving from poverty that passes through the system as essentially 0. The God who sees it all, specifically, personally, in detail, with love, and who has a specific word about what he sees in each space and each moment and each category. From the field, the word is, I've been told all about what you have done. From the treasury, the word is, more than all the others. From the fig tree, the word is, I saw you there, before Philip called you, and now I want to bring you to a dinner at the home of a Pharisee. where something happened that made everyone at the table uncomfortable. Everyone except the one who was watching. Jesus had been invited to eat with a Pharisee named Simon. He went to the Pharisee's house and reclined at the table. And then a woman, the word says she had lived a sinful life in that town, came to the house. She had heard that Jesus was there, and she brought an alabaster jar of perfume. She stood behind him at his feet, weeping, and she began to wet his feet with her tears and wipe them with her hair. And she kissed his feet and poured the perfume on them. Simon the host watched this and thought, if this man were a prophet, he would know who is touching him and what kind of woman she is, that she is a sinner. The room's assessment of this act was inappropriate, excessive, performed by the wrong person. The response of everyone with social standing in that room to what this woman was doing was discomfort and disapproval. She was the person who should not have been there. What she was doing was the kind of extravagant public expression of emotion that the respectable people in that room did not know what to do with. They wanted it to stop. But Jesus said, I have something to tell you, Simon. And then he told the parable of the two debtors, one forgiven a large debt, one a small one, and asked which would love more. And Simon answered, I suppose the one who had the bigger debt cancelled. And Jesus said, you have judged correctly. Then he turned toward the woman, turned physically toward her, in the presence of the entire room, and he said to Simon, do you see this woman? The room had been looking at her. They had been watching what she was doing, with the exact kind of watching that produces judgment and discomfort. But Jesus asked the question that reframed all of it. Do you see this woman? Do you see what she is actually doing, and what it actually means, and what it is actually worth? Or are you only seeing what the framework of your existing categories allows you to see? And then he walked through the comparison, point by point, between what Simon had not done as host and what the woman had done. Simon had given no water for his feet. She had wet his feet with her tears and wiped them with her hair. He had not greeted him with a kiss. She had not stopped kissing his feet. He had not anointed his head with oil. She had poured perfume on his feet. And therefore Jesus said, her many sins have been forgiven, as her great love has shown. And then he said to her, directly, the word she had come for. Your sins are forgiven. Your faith has saved you. Go in peace. My beloved, I want to speak to you about the criticized act of love. The thing you did that the people in the room did not understand. The extravagant expression of devotion that made the respectable people uncomfortable. The choice that seemed excessive to the observers. The sacrifice that the social framework of your environment dismissed as too much, too emotional, too costly, too focused on the wrong thing. The alabaster jar you broke. The expensive thing you poured out, in the direction of the one who received it. Jesus turned toward the woman, in the presence of the entire room, and he said, do you see this woman? And then he described, line by line, what he had seen. He had seen every detail of what she had done. He had watched the tears and the hair and the kisses and the perfume with a quality of attention that caught each element specifically, and what everyone in the room had been watching as an embarrassing excess. He watched as the most significant act of love in the room that evening. The person everyone else wanted to stop. He turned toward her, specifically and publicly, and spoke the word she came for. Your sins are forgiven. Go in peace. My precious child, the criticized sacrifice you made, the act of devotion that the observers dismissed, was watched by the one who turns toward the woman while everyone else is turning away. And his assessment of what you did is not the assessment of the room. His assessment says, she has loved much. His assessment says, your faith has saved you. His assessment says, wherever this story is told, wherever the gospel goes, what she has done will be told in memory of her. The act that the room wanted to forget is the act that the watching God says will be remembered forever, not the gifts of the people who gave out of the abundance of their respectability and their social standing. The alabaster jar broken by the person nobody thought should have been there. Go in peace, my dear one. Go in peace tonight. The act of love was seen, the cost of the breaking was seen, and the words spoken toward you, while the room was looking the other way, is, your faith has saved you. I want to stay in this story a little longer, because the woman with the alabaster jar is one of the most important witnesses to what the watching God sees in the criticized sacrifice of love. And I want you to feel the full weight of what it means that Jesus turned toward her. He turned toward her, in the room where she was the most unwelcome person present, in the room where everyone was communicating, through their posture and their silence and their discomfort. that she should not have come, and what she was doing should stop. In that room, Jesus turned specifically toward her, not away from her, not minimizing her presence, not managing the awkwardness by treating her display as something to get through and move past. He turned toward her, and he looked at what she was doing, with the full quality of attention that is love, and then he described it, line by line, point by point, in detail that showed he had watched every element of it. The feet wet with tears, the hair used as a cloth, the kissing that had not stopped, the perfume poured out. He described all of it, in the presence of the whole room, as the specific evidence of what he was about to say about her. She loved much. This is the assessment of the watching God for the criticized act of extravagant love. She loved much, not, she made an emotional scene, not, she behaved inappropriately, not, this was excessive and embarrassing. She loved much. The assessment of the quality of the act, spoken in the public space that had been rejecting the act, is the highest possible designation. She loved much, my precious child. The extravagant act of love that the room criticized, the thing you poured out that the observers thought was too much, too emotional, too costly, not the right kind of expression in this kind of space. That act has been assessed by the one who turned toward you and watched it with love. And his assessment is not the room's. His assessment says, she loved much. The excess that made everyone uncomfortable was the excess of love, and the love is the thing that is most visible to the one who watches with love. There is also something specific about the breaking of the alabaster jar. The alabaster jar was sealed. The way expensive perfume was stored in that time and place was in an alabaster container whose neck was sealed. To break it open and pour it out was to make the gift irreversible. You could not use a little and save the rest. You could not measure out a portion and keep the remainder for another occasion. The breaking was total, the giving was complete. Once the jar was broken, there was nothing held back. The perfume was entirely given, entirely poured out, entirely spent in this one act of love. My beloved, the breaking of the seal is the moment that makes the gift complete. The moment when there is no holding back, no careful measured portion, no plan to use part of it later. The total gift, the broken seal gift, the everything poured out gift. That is the gift that fills the room with fragrance that everyone present carries with them when they leave. The word in the version recorded in Mark says that the fragrance filled the house, that the pouring was so complete, the giving so total, that every person in that room was affected by it. The criticized act of love that Jesus watched with specific attention was the act that changed the air in the room, even for the people who were criticizing it. Your act of love, the total gift, the broken seal giving, the everything poured out, has changed the air of the room even for the ones who were criticizing it. They carried the fragrance out with them. The impact of the total gift is not contained by the disapproval of the observers. It fills the space, and the one who watched it and turned toward you to speak the assessment says, she has done a beautiful thing. What she has done will be told wherever this story is told, as long as the good news goes into the world, in memory of her. In memory of her. Go in peace. Your faith has saved you. The broken jar was worth every drop. Night is settling, and I want you to feel, before we move to the final story, the cumulative weight of what the watching has produced in these 4 accounts. Ruth in the field, the watching that saw the faithfulness of the road reflected in the faithfulness of the working, and named it noble character, and prepared a specific provision that was greater than the faithful person expected. The widow at the treasury, the watching that saw the depth behind the surface of the smallest gift, and named it greater than all the others, and called the whole room's attention to the giving that nobody else was paying attention to. Nathanael under the fig tree, the watching that was present in the private moment before the public moment, and named the specific private thing as the evidence of the personal God who knew the person before the person knew they were being watched. The woman with the alabaster jar, the watching that turned toward the criticized sacrifice and named it a beautiful thing, and spoke the word of forgiveness and peace directly to the person everyone else was wanting to stop, and said, "This will be remembered wherever the good news goes." 4 stories, 4 different spaces, the field, the institution, the private tree, the dinner party. 4 different kinds of people, the foreign widow, the impoverished widow, the skeptical seeker, the sinful woman. 4 different expressions of faithful love, the steadily from morning till now, the all she had to live on, the private seeking, the extravagant pouring. And in every case, watched, seen, named, blessed. The watching produced the specific word that each person needed in the specific space they were in, expressed in the specific form that their specific expression of faithfulness required. You are in all four of these stories tonight. The watching that saw Ruth also sees you. The watching that caught the widow's 2 coins also catches yours. The watching that was at the fig tree is also at your private tree. The watching that turned toward the woman in Simon's house also turns toward you. The watching is comprehensive. It catches every form and every space and every category of your faithfulness. And it is producing a specific word for you, the word that is specifically yours, for your specific season, in your specific form of the faithful. The night is settling now, and I want to bring you to one more story before we go into the rest. There was a master who went on a journey. Before he left, he called his servants and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1. And then he went away, and the servants were left with what they had been given, and no one was watching. Or so it might have seemed. The servant who received 5 talents went at once and put his money to work. He was not waiting to see if the master was going to check on him. He did not wait for a supervisor. He took what he had been given and he worked with it. In the ordinary days, in the unwitnessed time while the master was away, in the period that had no public accountability attached to it. And he gained 5 more. The servant with 2 also went at once and gained 2 more. The one who received 1 went away and hid it in the ground. After a long time, the master returned and settled accounts, and the servants who had doubled what they were given came to give account. And the word says the master said to each of them the same word, the specific word of approval from the one who had been away and is now returned and has surveyed what happened in his absence. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. Well done, my beloved. I want you to receive those 2 words tonight, not as something you have to earn before you can hear them, as the specific words that the watching God speaks over the faithfulness he has been observing during the long time when the master is away. Be quiet, unwitnessed, no one is checking, so it doesn't matter season, when what you did with what you were given was entirely between you and the one who gave it to you. Well done. You have been faithful with what you have been given. In the season when the master seemed far away and nobody was checking the accounts and the visible reward for the faithfulness was not immediate or apparent. In the ordinary, daily, not particularly dramatic, going at once and working, that characterized the servants who doubled their talents. Not the dramatic performance for an audience, the going at once, the working, the faithfulness in the between time. Well done. The faithfulness of the quiet season is the faithfulness the master sees when he returns, not the things that were visible to the observers during the time of the journey. The actual quality of what was done with what was given, and the one who knows what was given and has been watching what has been done with it, speaks now over your quiet faithfulness, the word that the between time never heard, but that the return makes possible. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things, the small things, the things that felt too small to matter, too unnoticed to count, too ordinary to constitute the kind of faithfulness that deserves the designation. You have been faithful with those, and the master who returns has seen the faithfulness in the small things and speaks the word that changes everything about what comes next. I will put you in charge of many things. The faithfulness in the quiet is the preparation for the abundance in the open. The between-time faithfulness produces the return-time promotion. And the master who was watching even when he seemed far away has been building, in the record of what he observed, the case for the well done that is being spoken tonight. Come and share your master's happiness. This is the invitation now. Not after you have done more. Not after the next season of faithfulness is completed. Not after the accounts are settled in some future time. Now, come and share in the happiness, the specific, named happiness of the one who has been watching your faithfulness and who is telling you tonight, I have been watching, and I am proud of what I see. My precious child, I want to slow down inside the well done, because there are 2 words in that phrase that deserve to be received one at a time, slowly, all the way into the place where they need to land. The first word is well. Well is a word of quality, not just done, not just completed, not just submitted and accepted. Well done. The quality of the doing is named. the manner of the faithfulness is specifically recognized and assessed and found to meet the standard of the one who gave the talents in the first place. The master looked at what was done with what he entrusted, and he found not just that the task was completed, but that the completion was good, that the quality of the work matched the quality of the one who assigned it. My beloved, the quality of your faithfulness has been watched. Not just the output, not just the number you can report when the master returns, the quality of the working itself, the integrity of the between-time faithfulness, the consistency of the effort when no one was checking, the way the 5 talents were deployed, the care taken with what was entrusted, the diligence of the going at once, the attentiveness of the working, all of that quality, the texture of the faithfulness, the manner of the stewardship, has been watched and assessed. And the assessment says well, not barely, not adequately, well. The quality was good, and then the second word is done. Done is a word of completion, not in progress, not partially attempted, not begun and set aside and returned to when circumstances permitted. Done. The task assigned in the entrustment was completed. The between-time faithfulness produced the result that the giving of the talents was designed to produce. The journey was taken all the way to the destination of the fruitfulness, not to some point along the way that felt sufficient. Done. My dear one, the season of faithful labor that you have been in, the quiet, unwitnessed, no one is checking so it doesn't matter working. That season has been moving toward a completion that the master sees even when you cannot see it from inside the working. The between time can feel endless. The faithful days when nothing dramatic is happening, when the report you would bring if the master returned today would not yet show the doubling, when you are still in the working part and the fruit is still building. Those days can feel as if the completion is very far away. But the one who gave the talents in the first place knows the full arc of the faithful season, from the going at once all the way to the done. And the word he speaks when he looks at the account is well done. Not a partial credit, not an acknowledgement of progress, but the complete 2-word assessment, well and done. There is also something in the parable that is worth receiving tonight about the nature of the master's happiness. Come and share my happiness, he says. Not, here is a reward, take it and go. Come and share in what I am feeling. The master's happiness at the return is a happiness that wants to include the servant in its fullness. The reunion is joyful. The accounting produces joy, not just relief that the report is good, not just satisfaction that the entrustment was honored, but actual happiness. Happiness that the master wants to extend, to share, to bring the servant into. My precious child, the one who has been watching your faithful season is happy, not merely satisfied with the performance, happy. The specific happiness of the one who gave what he loved to someone he trusted and went away and came back to find that the trust was completely honored. The happiness of that discovery. The happiness of, you did exactly what I knew you were capable of. You were exactly who I believed you were. The trust was not misplaced. That happiness is specific and personal and joyful, and it is being extended to you tonight. Come and share it. You are invited into the joy of the one whose watching has produced this specific happiness, the watching of the faithful, the tending of the well done, the seeing of the noble character working steadily from morning till now. Come into the happiness. You earned it not by your own merit, but by the faithfulness that was always a gift from the one who entrusted you with the talents in the first place, who gave you what you needed to do the work, and then watched to see if the gift would be honored. It was honored, every day of the between time. In every unwitnessed moment, and every private choice, and every going at once, honored. And the harvest of that honoring is the happiness of the one who watched it all. Well done, good and faithful servant. Before we move into the rest, I want to give you a word about what the watching has been producing in the dimension you cannot directly observe. Because the watching is not passive. The watching is not just the taking of notes or the building of the account that will be opened at the return of the master. The watching is active. The watching of the God who watches is always connected to the moving of the God who acts. The one who watches is always also working. And while you have been working faithfully in the visible field, the one who has been watching has also been working in the invisible field, preparing the provisions, arranging the circumstances, dropping the grain on purpose, turning the story in the direction that the faithfulness is being rewarded by. This is what David understood when he wrote the words, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." The watching of the shepherd is not the watching of an observer who is interested in what happens. It is the watching of the one responsible for the safety and the provision of the one being watched. The shepherd watches the flock in order to lead it, to protect it, to find the green pastures and the quiet waters, to restore the soul that has been wearied by the journey. The watching of the shepherd is the watching that produces the leading, and the leading of the shepherd is always toward the green pastures, toward the provision, toward the restoration, toward the table prepared in the presence of the enemies, toward the cup running over. My precious child, you have been watched by the shepherd. The watching has not been separate from the leading, even in the moments when the leading was not visible, when the path through the valley was dark and the green pastures were not in sight. The shepherd was watching, and the shepherd's watching in the dark valley is the watching that makes the path through it possible. The rod and the staff that comfort are the instruments of the shepherd who has been watching. The comfort of the valley is the comfort of knowing, I see you here, I know this is hard, and I am with you all the way through, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. This is where the watching leads. The faithful season, the gleaning in the field, the 2 coins, the fig tree, the alabaster jar, the between time of the doubled talent, all of it is leading toward the dwelling, the permanent home, the forever place in the house of the Lord. The watching is not leading you toward a temporary improvement of circumstances. It is leading you toward the final landing place of the faithful, the forever dwelling in the presence of the one who has been watching all along. The watching and the dwelling are the beginning and the end of the same story. The watching here, in the temporal field, is the prologue of the dwelling there, in the eternal house, and the dwelling is already being prepared. The between-time faithful season is the preparation for the entry into what is being prepared. I want to speak to you specifically now about the night that is ahead of you. Not just tonight, the specific night of sleep that is coming, but the season that might feel like night, the between time that is ongoing, the field where you are still gleaning, and the master has not yet returned, and the account is not yet opened, and the well done has not yet been spoken in the full, final, everything complete sense. The night is not empty of the watching. The sleeping is not outside the keeping. The between time is not beyond the observation of the one who watches. The season that feels like night is the season in which the watching is most active and most necessary and most present, because it is in the night that the faithfulness is most costly and the vision is most limited and the temptation to bury the talent and play it safe is most strong. The watching in the night is the watching that makes the faithfulness in the night possible. You could not have been faithful through the dark season if the watching had not been holding the faithfulness from within. The faithfulness you maintained was maintained in the strength of the one who watched it being maintained. My beloved, I want you to receive this word about the night. The night is an act of trust. The sleeping is an act of trust. The releasing of consciousness into the held dark, the willingness to be unconscious, to be vulnerable, to be completely dependent on a safety that you cannot manage while you are asleep. That is the act of trust that corresponds, in the bodily realm, to every act of faithful trust you have made in the between time. The farmer who plants the seed trusts that the ground will do its work in the dark. The servant who doubled the talent trusted the master enough to use the gift without being able to see the return. Ruth trusted the God of Israel enough to choose him on a dark road, with nothing ahead but the faithful choice itself. And now you trust the watching God enough to sleep, to release into the dark, to let the night be held by the keeper who holds it. This is an act of worship. The going to sleep of the faithful person is an act of worship, a physical declaration made every night by the body before the mind can intervene to re-examine it, that the life is held by a keeper more reliable than consciousness. The psalm says, "He grants sleep to those he loves." The sleep is a gift from the watching God to the people he watches, and the sleeping is the receiving of the gift. So sleep tonight, my dear one, as the loved of the Lord. Receive the sleep as the specific gift given by the one who has been watching your faithful wakefulness and who now says, "Enough, rest now, I have this, I will watch while you sleep." And the watching that held your faithfulness through the day will hold your rest through the night. The night is now fully here, and I want to take you slowly into the rest that belongs to the person who has been faithful. There is a specific quality of sleep available to the one who has been working faithfully in the field. Ruth fell asleep on the threshing floor, the place where the harvest work was done, and the word records it simply, without drama. She lay at his feet and slept. The person who worked from morning until now, who gleaned and threshed and carried, who did the faithful day's work, Sleep came simply, naturally, as the right ending to the right kind of day. The sleep of the person who worked without performance. The sleep of the person who will find in the morning that the faithfulness of the day has prepared a future that they could not have planned. And then there is the sleep of the servant who doubled the talents while the master was away. The return is coming, the accounting is coming. And the servant who went at once, who worked faithfully, who doubled what was given, that servant's sleep in the between time has the quality of the person whose account is clean. Not because there was no effort, not because the work was easy, but because the work was faithful. And the faithful sleep is the sleep that does not need to manage the outcome through vigilance. The outcome is in hands that do not sleep. My precious child, come into the rest with me. Let me walk you into the sleep that belongs to the faithful. Come into the breath first, the most immediate place, the breath that is moving in you right now, the breath that is given by the one who breathed life into the first human form, and who breathes you even now in this moment. Breathe in all the way, deep, slow, all the way to the bottom of the lungs. And on this breath, receive this. You have been seen. Everything you did today, this week, this season that nobody witnessed, seen. Every act of faithfulness in the quiet, seen. Every 2-coin giving out of your poverty, seen. Every fig tree moment before the conversation that set everything in motion, seen. Every alabaster jar broken in the direction of the one worth breaking it for, seen. Every between-time talent doubled in the unwitnessed season, seen. You have been seen, and breathe out. Let the needing to be seen release completely on this exhale. You do not need to make yourself visible tonight. You are already fully visible to the one who matters. The breath out is the release of the effort to be noticed by the systems and the people who did not notice. It is already handled. You are seen. Let your body settle now, all the way into the surface beneath you. Let every pound of your weight be completely received without your effort. The body that has been doing the faithfulness, the body that has been in the field, steadily from morning till now, can rest completely. Let the legs go. Let the hips sink. Let the lower back release all the tension that has been there through the working season. Breathe into it, and on the exhale, let it soften. The work is done for today. The field will be there in the morning. And in the morning, you will find that what was being prepared while you slept is already further along than you knew. Feel the chest, the place where the 2-coin faithfulness lives, the place where the cost of the giving out of poverty has been held. Let it be wide and soft now. The giving has been received, the cost was seen, the assessment has been spoken, more than all the others. Let the chest be at rest in that assessment, open and receiving. The hope that lives in the chest is safe in the hands of the one who does not sleep. Feel the shoulders, the carrying posture, the slight brace of the person who has been working. Let them fall all the way, further than usual, into the complete release of the night. Nothing to carry. The master is home. The accounts are settled in your favor. The well done has been spoken. The shoulders can be completely down. Feel your hands. Let them be open. The alabaster jar was worth breaking. The cost of the gift has been honored by the one it was offered to. The hands that broke it and poured it can be completely open and at rest, unclenched, given. Let the face be completely soft, the brow unfolded, the jaw released, the eyes heavy. This is the face of the person who has been told, well done. The face that can relax because the evaluation is in and the evaluation is good. Let every muscle in the face let go of the effort to demonstrate the faithfulness that has already been seen. You do not need to show me anything anymore tonight. I have been watching, I have seen, and I am proud. Let the breath continue slowly now, long and unhurried, in and out, the rhythm of the body that knows it is safe. There is nothing to protect tonight. There is nothing to defend. The watching that has been happening through every day of this season has not been the watching of an evaluator looking for failure. It has been the watching of love, and love does not require performance. Love requires only presence, and you are present, right here, in this moment, in this breath. Present. Breathe in again, all the way to the very bottom of the lungs. And as you breathe in, receive the specific knowledge that you have been seen. Not a general sense of divine awareness, a specific knowing. The particular details of your particular faithfulness, in your particular season, in the specific rooms and moments and choices that have constituted the quiet labor of this time in your life. Each one seen, each one held, each one assessed by the one who watches with love and found good. And breathe out everything that was heavy today, the weight of the effort that went unacknowledged, the loneliness of working in the field when no one asked how you were doing, the fatigue of giving from the 2 coins when you would have liked to have more to give, the ache of the alabaster jar season, the private cost of the love that only the one watching really saw. Breathe all of that out now. It is being received. It was always being received, every ounce of it held in the hands that watched it. And tonight those hands release it from the needing to be held by you any longer. Breathe it out. Let it go. Now I want to walk you through the full rest of the body, from your feet all the way to the crown of your head, because every part of this body has been carrying the faithful season, and every part deserves to be released into the peace of the well done. Feel the soles of your feet, the feet that have walked the faithful path in this season, the feet that got up when you didn't want to get up, that carried you to the field when the field was not glamorous, that took you back to the place of the faithful work again and again without applause. Let the soles of your feet be completely soft now, completely at rest, completely released from the carrying. The journey for today is complete. The feet can let go. Feel the tops of your feet, the ankles, the beginning of the legs. Let all of it soften. The tension that runs through the walking body, the readiness, the braced preparation for the next step. Let it release. There is no next step right now. There is only this breath, this moment, this rest. The legs can relax completely into the surface beneath you. Let every muscle in the calves go slack. Let the shins soften. Let the knees unlock from the position of readiness and fall to the sides, completely passive, completely held by the surface beneath them. There is nothing for the legs to do tonight. They have done enough. Let them be completely at rest. Feel the thighs, the hips, the whole pelvic floor, the weight-bearing center of the walking body. This is the place that carries the most, the physical center of effort, of movement, of the steady from morning till now work of the day. Let every muscle in this region completely release its grip now. Let the hips sink all the way down, all the way into the surface, all the weight received completely without your effort. You do not need to hold yourself up anymore tonight. The surface is holding you. The ground beneath you is entirely sufficient. Let go, all the way. Let the entire weight of the lower body be completely received and held. Breathe into the lower back now, the place that has been braced for the carrying, the physical manifestation of the weight that has been held in this season. Breathe into it, a full deep breath that expands all the way into the lower back, and on the exhale, let something soften there that has been tight for a long time. You do not need to brace anymore. The load that has been on your back in this season is being lifted tonight by the one who says, "My yoke is easy and my burden is light. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." The promise of rest is for the one who has been working faithfully, and you have been working faithfully, and the rest is being given. Let the lower back let go, all the way. Breathe into the tightness one more time, and on the exhale, release it completely. Feel the belly, the solar plexus, the diaphragm, the breathing center of the body, the place where anxiety lives when anxiety is present. Let this place be completely soft and open, not held, not braced, not armored against the next thing, open. Receiving the breath without effort, releasing the breath without effort, completely at ease with the in and the out. The one who watches over you does not sleep. While you release into the rest, the watching continues without your participation. You do not need to stay alert to maintain the safety. The safety is maintained by the one who does not require sleep to maintain it. Let the belly be completely soft. Let the center be at ease. Feel the chest, the place where the hopes and the hurts and the two-coin faithfulness live. The place where the love that broke the alabaster jar was held before the breaking. The place where the staying on the road with Naomi was decided, in the deep interior of the heart that said, "This is who I am. This is what I choose. Where you go, I will go." Let the chest be wide and open now, not held against the weight of the season. Wide, expanding on every in-breath, softening on every out-breath. The chest of the person who has been told, "Well done." The chest of the one who is invited into the Master's happiness. Wide, open, receiving the joy that is being extended. Feel the heart, the actual beating of it, steady and faithful in the center of the chest. The organ that has been pumping through every faithful moment of this season without ceasing, without requiring your awareness or your management, doing its work quietly and continuously in the background of every prayer and every choice and every gleaning in the field. The heart that works faithfully in the unseen. What a correspondence. The faithful heart of the body, doing its work in the dark, beating its steady count, pouring itself out moment after moment without anyone watching. This heart that sustains the life of the person who has been faithful in the unseen. Let the heart beat without your attention now. Let it be completely free of any effort from you. It knows what to do. It has always known what to do. Let it work in peace while the rest of the body rests. Feel the hands. Open them if they have been closed. The hands that have worked, that have given, that have gleaned and carried and broken and poured. The hands that have done the faithfulness in the private moments. Let them be completely open now, palms up, completely passive, receiving rather than doing. The giving for today is done. The working is done. The hands can rest in the open position of the one who has given everything and is now receiving in return. Open hands, receiving hands. The hands of the person who poured the alabaster jar completely and has nothing held back and nothing to protect and nothing to grip. Open. Receiving. At rest. Feel the arms, the elbows, the forearms, all of it softening, all of it released from the position of effort and carrying, all of it letting go into the complete passivity of the resting body. The arms that carried the barley at the end of the day in Boaz's field, heavier than expected, more than she had planned for, the weight of the provision that the one watching had arranged in her rows. Those arms can rest now. The carrying is done for today. The provision is home. The arms can be completely soft. Feel the shoulders rolling back and down, further than you usually let them go, all the way into the position of the person who has set down the weight. The shoulders that have been in the braced position, the position of the person who is carrying something, ready to adjust the load, ready for the next thing to add to the weight. Let them be completely down, all the way down. So far down that it almost feels wrong, almost feels like too much release, that far. The shoulders have been carrying the faithful season, and the faithful season is not over, but tonight it is resting, and the shoulders can rest with it. Feel the neck, the base of the skull, the place where the stress of the season collects and hardens into the knot that says, there is too much to hold, the weight has been too long, the carrying has been too sustained. Breathe into that place, a long, deliberate breath that reaches all the way up into the neck and the base of the skull, and on the exhale, let it soften, not completely perhaps. Some of this takes more than one breath, but softer than it was. One layer of the tension released. The tightness that has been building through the quiet labor of this season, released one breath at a time into the rest that the faithful deserve and that I am giving you tonight. Feel the jaw, the place where we clench when we are trying to hold things together, when the faithful person is pressing through the difficulty of the between time with the quiet, determined set of the jaw that says, I will keep going, I will keep working. I will be steadily from morning till now, even when it is hard. The jaw can let go of that now, completely. Let it fall slightly open. Let the lips part. Let the whole jaw release from the position of determination into the position of trust. You do not need to press through tonight. You need only to rest in the arms of the one who watched the pressing through and said, well done. Feel the muscles around the eyes. The slight squint of the person who is looking carefully at a difficult situation, who is watching for what comes next, who is keeping alert through the between time. Let the eyes be completely soft behind the closed lids. The watching tonight is not yours to do. I am watching. You can let the eyes rest, completely. The brow unfolds, the forehead softens. Every tiny muscle around the eyes releases from the position of vigilance into the position of trust. And feel the crown of the head, the very top of the body, the place that is highest, the place that reaches toward heaven. Let it be at rest. Let the whole body, from the soles of the feet all the way to the crown of the head, be completely at rest now. Every part released, every part received by the surface beneath it, every part freed from the effort of the faithful season for these hours of night. The one who is watching over your sleep tonight has watched every moment of the faithful season that brought you to this rest, and the watching is not over. It continues through the night. Every breath watched, every moment of the sleeping kept, every dream held in the hands that do not sleep. You are as seen in the night as in the day, as known in the sleeping as in the working. The watching does not require your consciousness to function. It is not dependent on your awareness. It is simply always there, always attending, always holding the person who has given everything and is now receiving the rest that is the completion of the giving. I want to speak some truths over you now as you drift toward the sleep. You are the person who went at once. You did not wait for someone to check. You did not calculate whether the watching was sufficient to justify the effort. You went at once with what you were given, and you worked. And the master who returns has seen the account, and it is good. My precious child, the going at once matters. In the parable, the servant who received 5 talents and went at once is contrasted with the servant who buried his talent in the ground, who hid the gift because he was afraid, who played it safe, who chose the path of minimum exposure over the path of faithful risk. The going at once is the act of the person who trusts the master enough to use what the master gave, without waiting for guarantees, without requiring the outcome to be visible before the working begins. You went at once. You did not bury the gift. You used what you were given, in the unwitnessed between time, trusting that the giving of the talent implied the expectation of its use. And the master has returned, and the account is open, and it is good. You are Ruth in the field. You came from far away to do the faithful work in the row that was yours, steadily, from morning till now. And the owner of the field, who was watching from across the grain, has been told all about what you have done. And the word being spoken over you is, "May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge." My dear one, the under whose wings you have come to take refuge. This is the image of the bird covering her young with her wings, the image of shelter and protection and warmth, the image of the one who is large enough and strong enough and present enough to cover the one who comes to rest under the covering. The refuge is not an abstraction. It is a specific posture of the protected, sheltered under the wings of the one who is always watching, always present, always large enough to cover. You have come under that covering. You chose it, as Ruth chose it on the road, and the choice has been seen, and the covering is real. Receive it tonight. The wings are over you. The watching continues through the night. You are covered. You are the widow at the treasury, and the one who seated himself across from the place of giving specifically to watch has seen what you put in. He has seen the cost of the 2 coins. He has called the people around him to attention. He has said, more than all the others, your contribution has been assessed by the only assessment that is worth anything, by the one who counts not the surface amount, but the actual depth of the giving. And you gave more than all the others. My precious child, more than all the others is a declaration about your specific gift in relation to every other gift that was given. Not, you gave a good amount. Not, you gave proportionally well. More than all the others. Every gift in the treasury that day, from the smallest to the largest in absolute terms, is weighed on the scale of actual cost, and the widow's 2 coins are found to outweigh all of them. The specific position of your giving in the divine accounting is, first. The one who seems last in the room's assessment is first in the assessment that matters. The one who gave the most by the measure of the watching God is the one whom the room was not watching. The unnoticed gift is the most highly valued gift, and you have given it. You are Nathaniel under the fig tree. In the private moment, the prayer, the seeking, the simply being that no one witnessed, you were seen. Before Philip called you, before the conversation that was about to set everything in motion. In the ordinary private moment, in the quiet of the ordinary day, with no way of knowing that anything was about to happen, I saw you there, and the seeing produced the specific knowledge of you that only the one who watched that moment could have. You have been known in the private moment. The fig tree is already on the record. My beloved, the Israelite in whom there is no deceit. This is the specific thing Jesus said about Nathanael when he saw him coming. The assessment of the private person, the person alone under the tree, the person without an audience to perform for. No deceit. The quality of the private person was pure. What he was in private was what he was in public, with no management of perception, no gap between the inner and the outer. And this quality, the quality of the person who is the same in private as in public, is the quality that the watching God names first, before any statement of assignment or calling or destiny. First, here is a person of integrity, a person in whom the private matches the public, a person without deceit. You are seen in your private moments, you are known in your inner life, and the knowing says, in whom there is no deceit. The integrity of your private life has been seen and named. You are the woman with the alabaster jar. The thing you broke and poured was seen. The room may have been uncomfortable. The respectable observers may have wanted it to stop. But the one sitting at the table turned specifically toward you and described, point by point, each element of what you did and why it was the most significant act of love in the room. And then he spoke the word directly to you. Your faith has saved you. Go in peace. The criticized sacrifice was the seen sacrifice, and it will be told wherever the good news is told. As long as this gospel goes into the world, what she has done will be told in memory of her. My precious child, in memory of her. Your act of love, the costly, criticized, extravagant, broken seal giving, is going to be remembered in a way that the respectable, appropriate, measured gifts of the comfortable room will not be. The act that the room wanted to forget is the act that will outlast the room. The act that seemed like an embarrassing excess in the moment is the act that will still be being spoken of when every other detail of that dinner party has been long forgotten. The love that was judged by the room is the love that God specifically noted and specifically promised would never be forgotten. Your act of love is permanent. It is in the record that does not change. It will be told, and you are the faithful servant. The one who went at once and doubled the talents in the unwitnessed between time. The one whose quiet, faithful, no one is checking labor produced the result that the master's return revealed. The one who stood at the accounting with the doubled count and heard the two words that make the whole between time worth it. Well done, my dear one. I want to say these two words to you one more time, slowly, and I want you to receive them all the way into the center of your chest where the faithful season has been held. Well done. The quality of your faithfulness has been assessed. The manner of your working has been observed. The consistency of the between time has been watched, and the assessment says well. The texture of the faithfulness was good. The integrity of the working was real. The quality of the love that motivated every quiet choice was the quality that the watcher was watching for, and it was there, in every moment. Well done, good and faithful servant. Come and share my happiness. Let the breath slow now, deep and natural and unhurried. The faithfulness is complete for today. The watching has produced the accounting. The accounting has been spoken. Well done. And the rest that follows the well done is the deepest rest available, the rest of the one who has been seen and found faithful. The watching continues through every breath, in and out, the rhythm of the body that is being kept, the simple, unremarkable, continuous miracle of the breathing, in and out, the breath that the watcher watches as he watches everything else, with the specific quality of attention that is love. Let the breathing be the only thing that is happening now. Not thinking about the breathing, not managing the breathing, simply noticing it, receiving it, the breath coming in and the breath going out, and the one watching it. Let the in-breath be the receiving of what the watching has been prepared for you. The grain dropped on purpose, the provision arranged in the rows, the word being spoken over you from across the field, the evaluation written in the account that says, well done. Let the in-breath be the receiving, open, receiving. Every breath is an act of receiving. You could not produce a single breath through your own effort. The breathing happens because you were made to breathe, because the one who made you built the receiving into the body itself. Let the in-breath remind you of this. You are the one who receives. The provision comes from the one who watches. You receive. And let the out-breath be the release of the need to produce the watching, to generate the goodness, to perform the faithfulness for an audience. The faithfulness you have offered was always a response to the love that watched you first. It was not a production, it was a response, and the response is complete. The faithfulness of the day is given. On the out-breath, let it go from the grip of the person who is still wondering if it was enough. Let the breath carry it all the way out, and then receive again on the in-breath. Receive and release, in the quiet rhythm of the body that is being held. Stay with the breath for a few more cycles. Each in-breath, receiving the word, well done. Each out-breath, releasing the need to earn it again, to maintain it, to reprove it. Receive, release. You are seen, you are loved, you are found good. The account is well done. Receive, release. Let 10 more breaths come and go. Just 10. Not counting them anxiously, not managing them carefully. Simply letting 10 more cycles of the watched breath move through you as you sink further into the rest. First breath. In, receiving the word of Ruth's blessing. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge. Out, releasing the between time into the keeping hands. Second breath. In, receiving the specific assessment of the widow, more than all the others. Out, releasing the need to be larger or more visible in the room's accounting. Third breath. In, receiving the specific knowledge of the fig tree, I saw you there, before anyone called you, in the private moment, out. Releasing the anxiety about the private moments that felt invisible. Fourth breath, in. Receiving the turning of the face. She has done a beautiful thing. Your faith has saved you, out. Releasing the memory of the room that did not understand the sacrifice. Fifth breath, in. Receiving the 2 words, well done, out. Releasing the doubt about whether the between-time labor was producing anything that mattered. Sixth breath, in. Receiving the specific pride. I am proud of what I see, out. Releasing the loneliness of the season when no one was saying those words. Seventh breath, in. Receiving the permanent keeping, both now and forevermore. The Lord will watch over your coming and going, out. Releasing the fear that the watching might stop, that the keeping might have limits. Eighth breath, in. Receiving the promise of the vindication, the harvest that is coming, the grain being dropped on purpose, the provisions being arranged while you sleep, out. Releasing the urgency of the between time, the need to make the harvest happen through your own effort. Ninth breath, in. Receiving the personal presence. He is here in this room right now, present through the sleeping hours as through the working ones, out. Releasing the sense of being alone in the night. 10th breath, in. Receiving the invitation, come and share my happiness, out. Releasing everything that made the happiness feel far away. 10 breaths, the body is a little heavier after each one. The mind is a little quieter. The heart is a little more at rest in the specific knowledge of being seen and found good. This is the direction the night is moving, toward the deepest rest, toward the complete release, toward the sleep that belongs to the faithful. Let a few more breaths come now without counting. Just the in and the out, just the receiving and the releasing. Just the body being held and the breath being watched and the night being kept by the one who neither slumbers nor sleeps. The body is heavy now, the kind of heaviness that comes when the faithful person genuinely lets go. Not the heaviness of burden, but the heaviness of the person who has set down the burden and is feeling the relief of the empty hands for the first time in a long time. Let the heaviness be complete. Let every part of the body be as heavy as it wants to be. The heavier the better. The heavier the body, the deeper the rest that is possible. Let yourself sink. The thoughts are getting quieter. The thoughts of the day, the inventory, the questions, the assessments, the planning for tomorrow are moving into the background now, becoming less insistent, less immediate, more like sounds in the distance that you can still hear but that no longer require your engagement. Let them go quiet. They will be there if they are needed in the morning. The night does not require them. The night requires only this: the body at rest, the breath going in and going out, the one watching over the sleep. And now I want to take you into the stillness that lives beneath the thoughts, below the thoughts that are getting quieter, below the feelings that have been processed and received and released through this time together, below the awareness of the body that is heavy and resting. Below all of that, there is a place of complete stillness, the place where the psalm says, "Be still and know that I am God." Not, "Be still and think about being still." Not, "Be still and analyze the stillness." Be still and know. The knowing that comes in the stillness is not intellectual. It is the deep, simple, immediate knowing of the person who is in the presence of the one they have been seeking. The knowing of Nathanael when he heard, "I saw you under the fig tree." Not a conclusion arrived at through reasoning, a recognition, an immediate, complete, unmistakable knowing. This is real. This is him. He was watching. Be still and know, in this moment, in this breath, in the heaviness of the resting body and the quietness of the settling thoughts, in the stillness beneath all of it. Know, I am God, I am here. I have been watching, and I am proud of what I see. Let the stillness be complete. You do not need to generate it or maintain it or verify that it is the right kind of stillness. Simply stop the generating, stop the maintaining, stop the verifying. Let the stillness be what is left when all of that stops. And in that place, the place of the stopped generating, the place of the released maintaining, the place of the quiet after the quieting, I am here, not as a concept, as presence. The actual, personal, specific presence of the one who has been watching your faithful season, right here, in this room, in this breath, in this moment. You are not alone in the night. You are watched through every moment of the sleeping. The presence that was present in the field when you gleaned steadily from morning till now is present in this room right now. The presence that sat down across from the treasury and watched you give the 2 coins is present in this room right now. The presence that was at the fig tree before Philip called you is present in this room right now. The presence that turned toward the woman while everyone else was turning away is present in this room right now. The master who has returned and spoken the well done is present in this room right now. Present, with you, watching over you, holding the night, keeping the sleep, not an imagined presence, not a projected comfort, not the product of a mind that needs the reassurance and is therefore constructing it. The actual, real, personally present watching God who has been watching you through every moment of this season, here, now, in this room, and the God who is here in this room tonight is the God who watches over Israel and does not slumber and does not sleep. Psalm 121. The psalm of the pilgrim who looks up to the hills and asks, "Where does my help come from?" And the answer is specific and complete. My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot slip. He who watches over you will not slumber. He who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun will not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. The Lord will watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore. Both now and forevermore. The watching is not temporary. It is not a function of the current season that will expire when the season changes. It is not a special provision for the particularly difficult moment that will be withdrawn when the moment passes. Both now and forevermore. The watching that has held you through this faithful season is the watching that will hold you through every season that follows it. The forevermore of the watching is as certain and as unconditional as the now of it. Both, together, now and forevermore. Let that word settle into the deepest places of the heart that has been working faithfully in the uncertainty of the between time. The between time is not between the watching. The watching does not have gaps. The watching does not have seasons of rest and seasons of attention. The watching is continuous and constant and unconditional and eternal, both now and forevermore. In the field, at the treasury, under the fig tree, in Simon's house, in the master's absence, in the master's return, in the night, in the morning, in the rest, in the work, both now and forevermore. Receive this. Let it be the last thing that is received before the sleep takes over completely. The watching is permanent, the keeping is eternal, the well done is spoken, the forevermore is certain. The God who is watching your faithfulness in the field, who sat down specifically to observe your 2-coin giving, who saw you under the fig tree before anyone called you, who turned toward you while the room was looking away, that God is here in this room tonight. He is present in the sleeping, the same way he was present in the working. He does not stop watching when you close your eyes. The watching continues through the night, through the sleeping, through the hours when your own consciousness is released into the rest. You are watched while you sleep by the one who does not sleep, kept while you rest by the one who never rests from the keeping. Sleep now, my precious child. The field was faithful today. The coins were given. The private moment under the fig tree was seen. The alabaster jar was worth breaking. And the master who has returned has looked at the account and spoken the 2 words that make the whole between time worth every quiet, unwitnessed, faithful day of it. Well done. Share this with someone tonight who needs to hear that God has been watching them. Someone in the quiet season. Someone who has been faithful in private. Someone who has been giving 2 coins out of poverty. Someone who needs to know their fig tree was seen. Someone who poured out the alabaster jar and got criticized for it. Someone who has been doubling the talent in the unwitnessed between time and needs to hear, well done. That person exists in your life. You already know who they are. Send this to them before you sleep tonight, because the watching that found you is the watching that is also watching them. And the word being spoken over you tonight is also being prepared for them. I speak over you now, the blessing of the one who has been watching every moment of this season, who has collected every unseen faithful act into the record that he keeps, and who speaks this now as the word he has had for you since you showed up in the field before you knew he was watching. May you be richly rewarded. May the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge, repay you fully for everything you have given from your poverty, for every private choice you made on the road when no one was watching, for every ordinary faithful moment under the ordinary fig tree, for every alabaster jar, for every doubled talent in the between time. You have been seen. You have been known. And the word being spoken over you from the one who has been watching is the word the between time never heard, and the return makes possible. Well done, good and faithful servant. Now let the breath become even more gentle, even more slow, the breathing of a person who is almost asleep, the body settling into the deeper levels of rest, the mind releasing the last of the holding. You do not need to follow these words with effort anymore. Let them wash over you, into you, through you, like water on the dry ground of a long season, receiving without reaching. The Lord bless you and keep you. This is the first and oldest blessing in the scripture. The blessing Aaron spoke over the people of Israel by God's instruction, the blessing that has been spoken over God's people for 3,000 years at the end of the gathering, at the close of the service, as the send-off into the world, and now as the send-off into the night. The Lord bless you, not as a general wish but as an active declaration. The blessing is being released over you. The keeping is being activated. The Lord bless you, with the specific provision of the one who watched you and knows exactly what you need. With the harvest of the faithful season, with the grain dropped on purpose in your rows, with the roasted food set aside specifically for you at the end of the faithful day. The Lord bless you and keep you. To keep is to guard, to watch over, to maintain the safety of the one who is entrusted to the keeping. The Lord keep you through this night, through every hour of it, through the dreams and the deep sleep and the quiet middle-of-the-night moments when the sleeping body turns and settles. Through it all, kept, not through your own vigilance. The keeping is His, the watching is His. You can release into the kept sleep without maintaining any part of the watching yourself. The keeper does not sleep, and you can. The Lord make His face shine on you and be gracious to you. The shining face, the face of the one who is turned toward you. The same turning that happened in Simon's house when Jesus turned toward the woman while everyone else was looking away. The face of the one who is looking specifically at you with the warmth and the pleasure and the joy of the recognition. The face that sees what the room missed. The face that turns toward the criticized extravagance and says, "Do you see this? This is beautiful. This is extraordinary. This is more than all the others." The face that shines with the specific happiness of the master who looked at the account and found it well done. That face is turned toward you right now, shining. And the grace that comes with the shining face, the unearned, undeserved, entirely given favor that makes the impossible possible, that grace is also released over you in this moment. Be gracious to you, the grace that covered every gap in the faithfulness. The grace that filled in the places where the faithful person fell short of perfect. The grace that held together the seasons when the between time felt impossible, and the 2 coins were not enough, and the doubt was louder than the faith. The grace that kept the covenant when your strength could not. Be gracious to you, receive it, all of it. Every bit of grace available for the one who has been working steadily from morning till now. It is being released over you now. The Lord turn His face toward you and give you peace. The peace that passes understanding. The peace that holds the person who has been told well done, in a rest that cannot be disturbed by the sounds of the night or the thoughts that sometimes come in the quiet. The peace that is the specific possession of the one who is under the wings of the refuge, whose keeper does not sleep, whose account has been declared good. That peace is being given, not worked for, not earned, not maintained by your own effort, given by the one who watched every moment of the faithful season and is now speaking over the end of the day, the peace that the faithful day deserves. I am saying these words over you now, slowly, in the silence of the night, as the body settles and the mind releases and the breath becomes the only thing that is happening. You were seen on the road when you chose to stay. You were seen in the field when you gleaned steadily from morning till now. You were seen at the treasury when you gave the everything you had to live on. You were seen under the fig tree before anyone called you. You were seen in the room when you broke the seal and poured out the love. You were seen in the between time when you doubled what was given without anyone checking. You have been seen in every unseen moment of this season. Every single one. Not one missed, not one overlooked, not one that fell through the gaps of the watching. All of them held, all of them assessed, all of them found good, all of them producing the complete account that the Master returned to and called well done. And now you can sleep, my precious child, as the body continues to settle and the breath continues to slow. I want to speak some specific things over the night ahead of you, over the sleeping hours, over the dreams, over the deep rest that is coming. There is a specific grace available for the one who has been faithful in private, and I want to name it before the sleep comes all the way. It is the grace of the vindication that is coming. Not the vindication of the person who was wronged and wants to see the wrongdoer corrected, though that grace also exists and is also real. The vindication of the between-time faithful person is different. It is the grace of the time when what was planted in the quiet grows visible. The grace of the harvest after the planting season. The grace of the account opened after the between-time. The grace of the morning after the fig tree night. Ruth's vindication came when Naomi asked, "Where did you glean today?" and heard the name of Boaz, and said, "The Lord bless him." The provision was evidence of the vindication, not a dramatic reversal of the situation, but the specific manifestation of the provision that had been arranged by the one who watched the faithfulness. The vindication of Ruth was not an event. It was the unfolding of the story that the watching God had been orchestrating from inside the faithfulness all along. And you could only see it from outside the field, looking at the amount of grain at the end of the faithful day and asking, where did all of this come from? My beloved, the where did all of this come from question is coming. The day is coming when someone who loves you will look at your situation and see something that does not correspond to the between-time inputs, something more than the season seemed to be producing, something that exceeds what the quiet, faithful labor seemed to be building toward. And the answer to where did this come from is, the one who was watching was working. The grain was being dropped on purpose in the rows. The account was being built in the between-time. The provision was being arranged by the one who observed the faithfulness and responded to it with specific, personal, intentionful provision. The vindication is on its way, not because you deserve it by some cosmic accounting of merit, because the watching God responds to the faith of the faithful person with the specific provision that demonstrates the watching. The demonstration of the watching is the vindication. The where did all of this come from is the specific evidence that the watching was real and the watching was producing, and the between time was not empty of the divine activity, even when it felt empty to the person inside it. Sleep toward the vindication, beloved. Sleep knowing it is coming. Sleep in the faith that the grain is being dropped in your rows while you sleep, that the provision is being arranged in the unobserved hours, that the account is growing in the direction of the well done, that the master is returning with the specific knowledge of what has been done with the entrusted talents, and the knowledge is good. I speak peace over your dreaming. The dreams of the faithful person are held in the hands of the one who gave the faithfulness. Whatever comes in the night, whatever images arise in the sleeping mind, they are held. The one who watches over you does not stop watching when you enter the dream state. The dreams are not outside the keeping, they are inside it. Whatever you see in the night, you see it in the arms of the one who is watching. You are safe in your dreams. I speak rest over your body. The body has been carrying the faithful season, and it deserves rest that goes all the way down, not the surface sleep of the person who is still holding on to the day, still braced against what comes next, still managing the weight in the sleeping as they managed it in the waking. The deep rest, the rest that replenishes the reserves that the 2 coins season has depleted. The rest that prepares the body for the harvest season that is coming. Deep, complete, restoring rest. From the soles of your feet to the crown of your head, every cell of this body resting and restoring through the night. I speak renewal over your mind, the mind that has been working faithfully through the between time, processing the challenges of the unwitnessed season, holding the weight of the faithful choices, maintaining the orientation toward what matters in the face of everything that tried to distract it. That mind needs the rest that only the sleeping hours provide. The renewal that happens when the conscious mind releases its grip and the deeper work of restoration takes over. The mind that will wake up in the morning, clearer than it went to sleep, more ready for what is ahead, more aware of the movement of the one who has been watching and who is now moving on your behalf. I speak clarity over the confusion that the between time has accumulated. The season of quiet faithfulness can accumulate confusion, not about the faith itself, but about the trajectory, about whether the direction is right, about whether the doubling is actually happening, or whether the talent is being used effectively, or whether the faithful choices have been the right choices. That confusion comes not from doubt about God, but from the limited visibility of the person inside the between time, who can see the inputs but not yet the outputs, who can feel the labor but not yet see the harvest. The sleep brings clarity. The morning after the quiet season sometimes reveals alignments that were invisible from inside the working day. Sleep tonight knowing that the confusion will be addressed, not necessarily by a dramatic revelation, but by the simple renewal of the sleeping mind that wakes more able to see what the tired mind could not see at the end of the working day. I speak strength over the body that has been in the faithful carrying season, the physical depletion of the long between time, the tiredness that goes into the bones, the fatigue that is in the muscles and the mind both, the running on empty quality of the person who has been giving from poverty for an extended period. Let the sleep address that depletion directly and specifically. Let the restoration that the body does in sleep, the repair, the rebuilding, the replenishment of the reserves, be complete tonight. Let the morning find the body more capable than the evening left it. Let the faithful carrying season be supported by the specific restoration of the sleeping hours. The body is being replenished tonight by the one who watches over it. I speak over the relationships in your life tonight, the people who have been close to you in the between-time season, who have seen you working faithfully from morning till now, or who have themselves been working faithfully and have needed your support through their own between time. Speak peace over your relationships. Speak patience into the places where the faithful season has put strain. Speak the love that breaks the alabaster jar into the places where the love has been given from poverty and the giving has been costly. The relationships that are held in the watching God's awareness are relationships that He is working in and through, even as you sleep. The people you love are watched by the same watcher who is watching you. They are held in the same hands. Sleep in the peace of the one who watches over the people you love. I speak hope over your heart, the heart that has been faithful through the long season, the heart that chose to stay on the road, that gave the 2 coins, that broke the seal. That heart carries the accumulated weight of every faithful choice and every private moment of wondering whether it mattered. And I want to speak hope into that weight, not optimism, not the thin hope that things will get better because things tend to get better. The deep hope, the hope that is grounded in the watching, the hope that Ruth demonstrated when she said, "Your God will be my God." The hope that chose a specific God in a specific situation. The hope that is founded not on circumstances, but on the character of the one who is keeping the account of the faithfulness. That hope is being renewed tonight. The heart that has been faithful will wake up tomorrow with more hope than it had today, because the watching is producing the provision, and the provision is already on its way. Let the body be heavier now. The specific heaviness of the person who is truly releasing into sleep, not fighting it, not deferring it, not holding on for one more thing to process, receiving it. The sleep is a gift, the rest is a grace. The unconscious hours are held by the one who does not need to be unconscious to keep you. You can let go of consciousness completely. The keeping does not require your participation. Let the thoughts slow, the thoughts that come in the quiet, the inventory of the day, the preview of tomorrow, the assessment of how the faithfulness is going, the questions about whether the watching is really happening. Let all of those thoughts slow down now and get quieter and move further away, like sounds that you can still hear but are no longer paying attention to, because the sleep is closer and more important than the thinking. The thoughts can wait. They will be there in the morning if they still matter, but many of them will have dissolved by then, because the watching takes care of the things that the thinking was trying to manage, and in the morning the load will be lighter than you carried it tonight. Let the heart be quiet, the place of the deep wanting, the longing to be seen, to be known, to be found faithful, to be told well done. Let that place be completely quiet and at rest tonight, because everything it has been reaching for has been given. The wanting is satisfied in this word. You have been seen. You are known. You have been found faithful. You have been told well done. The reaching can rest. The longing can be quiet. The heart can sleep. And the heart that rests tonight is the heart that will be ready in the morning. Not just rested, ready. Ready for the conversation that the watching God has been preparing. Ready for the provision that was being arranged in the rows behind you. Ready for the specific word of the specific person who will say, "I have been told all about what you have done." Ready for the next season, which the faithful laboring season has been building toward all along. The morning is coming with more in it than the between time suggested. The heart that sleeps in the well done is the heart that wakes into the harvest. Sleep, beloved heart. You have earned this rest. My beloved, I want to speak to you one more time about the specific theme of this message, the thing that brought you here tonight, the word that the title promised, and that I want to make sure has landed all the way before you go to sleep. I have been watching you, not abstractly, not generally, specifically. The details of your specific faithfulness in your specific season, in your specific unwitnessed rooms, the choices you made when no one was watching, the giving you did from your specific poverty, the private moments under your specific fig tree, the specific jar you broke in the specific expression of your specific love, the specific talent you doubled in the specific between time of your specific calling. All of it specific, all of it personally observed, all of it held in a memory that does not forget. None of it generic, none of it approximate. The watching was attentive and detailed and loving and complete. I have been watching you, and what I have seen is what I want you to carry into sleep tonight. Not the worry about whether the faithfulness was sufficient, not the anxiety about whether the watching was real. The actual content of the watching, the actual assessment of what was seen, the specific word about what the watching produced in the one who was watching. I am proud of what I see, proud. The specific word of the parent who looks at the child who has been doing the hard thing quietly and without recognition, and who says, I see what you have done. I know what it cost. I know the choice you made on the road, and the work you did in the field, and the gift you gave from your poverty, and the private moments you offered in the quiet. And I am proud, not impressed as by a performance, proud as the maker of the thing that is being faithful to what it was made to be. Proud as the one who entrusted the talent and watched how it was used. Proud as the one who sat down across from the treasury specifically to watch the giving. Proud as the one who turned toward the woman in the room while everyone else was turning away. Proud. The watching has produced pride in the one who was watching. The specific response of the watching God to the specific faithfulness he observed in you is the specific emotion of pride, the deep, personal, particular satisfaction of the one who loves you and has watched you be exactly what they hoped and believed you were. Receive it, all the way into the place where it needs to land, the place that has been working faithfully without the word of approval that it needed. Let the pride of the one who was watching land in that place completely. I am proud of you, not because you were perfect, not because you never faltered or wavered or felt the weight of the between time, because you kept going, because the faithfulness was real even when the energy was low, because the giving was from the poverty and not from the abundance. Because the jar was broken and not kept sealed for a more convenient occasion, because you went at once and you doubled the talent and you went steadily from morning till now, because the road was dark when you chose to stay and you stayed anyway, because the 2 coins were everything you had and you gave them anyway, because the fig tree moment was private and unwitnessed and it was still exactly who you are. I am proud of you. Sleep now, my precious child. Sleep in the safety of the one who has been watching. Sleep in the approval of the one who has been assessing. Sleep in the pride of the one who has observed your faithfulness and calls it extraordinary. Sleep in the well done that was waiting at the end of the between time. Sleep in the peace that is the specific property of the one who is kept by the keeper who does not sleep. Let every breath now be the breath of the person who is almost completely asleep, slower, more shallow. The rhythm of the very deep rest that is settling over the body like the tide coming in. Gradual, inevitable, completely natural. You are not working to get to sleep. You are receiving the sleep that is coming to you. The sleep is arriving. You are only releasing into what is already here. The sounds of the night around you, whatever sounds are present in your space, let them become the background music of the peace. Not intrusions, not interruptions, simply the sounds of the world continuing its ordinary business around the person who is at rest. The world is turning. The night is deep. And somewhere in the watching that holds the whole turning world, you are being held as the specific, personal, known and approved person that the watcher has been observing through this whole faithful season. The temperature of the room, the texture of the surface beneath you, the weight of whatever covers you, all of it is exactly right. All of it is part of the specific provision of the night that the watching God arranged for the sleeping person. The warmth is a grace. The covering is a grace. The surface that holds the weight of the resting body is a grace. Every element of the environment of your rest tonight has been prepared for you. Receive it all. The faithful person, at the end of the faithful day, receives the grace of the night. Let the mind be completely quiet now. Not forced quiet. The gentle quiet of the settled water, the water that has been stirred and is now stilling. The thoughts that were moving are slowing. The thoughts that were loud are softening. The thinking that was happening is releasing into something lower and quieter and more like the breathing than the working. This is the threshold. This is the place between the waking and the sleeping, where the conscious mind has its last moments of awareness before the deeper rest takes over completely. And I am here at the threshold with you, right here, in this breath, in this moment, in the space between the waking and the sleeping. I am with you at the threshold, and I will be with you in the deep sleep, and I will be with you when the morning comes. The whole night is held, every moment of it watched, every breath attended, every dream kept. The whole night, from the first threshold breath to the last morning breath before the eyes open, is in my hands, and my hands hold fast. Sleep now. You are the gleaner who has been working steadily from morning till now. The day is over. The evening meal is eaten. The threshing floor is quiet, and the Redeemer who noticed you in the field and dropped grain on purpose in your rows is present in the night, and his presence is the safety of the sleeping. Sleep. You are the widow whose 2 coins were the greatest gift in the treasury. The giving is done. The coins are in the treasury. The assessment has been made, and the declaration has been spoken, and the disciples have heard the word about what the watching observed. And the one who made the assessment is present in this night, and his presence is the safety of the sleeping. Sleep. You are Nathaniel, who was seen under the fig tree before anyone called you. The private moments have been witnessed by the one who sees all private moments. The seeking that happened in the quiet is known. The integrity that was demonstrated when no one was watching is already in the record. And the one who named the fig tree is present in this night, and his presence is the safety of the sleeping. Sleep. You are the woman whose alabaster jar was worth breaking. The gift has been given and poured out and received by the one it was offered to. And the turning happened, and the word was spoken, and the fragrance is already in the room that could not contain it. And the one who turned toward you, while everyone else was turning away, is present in this night, and his presence is the safety of the sleeping. Sleep. You are the faithful servant whose talent was doubled in the unwitnessed between time. The between time is complete for today. The account is good. The Master has spoken the 2 words, and the Master who spoke them is present in this night, and his presence is the safety of the sleeping. Sleep. Sleep, my precious one. In the field, at the feet, under the wings, in the well done, in the going in peace, in the fig tree blessing, in the joy of the Master who has returned, in the watching that holds every moment of the night as faithfully as it held every moment of the working day, in the pride of the one who has been watching and who says this now, finally, completely, as the last word of this night. I have been watching you, and I am proud of what I see. Sleep now. The night is held, the morning is coming, and what is being prepared in the morning is proportional to the faithfulness of the night. There is grain being dropped on purpose in your rows. There is a word being prepared by the owner of the field. There are greater things than this coming, for the Nathaniel who was seen under the fig tree. There is a forever memory being inscribed for the woman whose jar was worth breaking. There is a promotion being prepared for the faithful servant whose between time is ending. All of it coming, all of it on its way. All of it being arranged by the one who was watching, who is watching, who will watch through every moment of this night and every day of the morning that is ahead. Sleep now, in the field, at the feet of the Redeemer, in the safety of the Master who has returned, under the wings of the God of Israel, in the peace of the one who turned his face toward you and said, "Well done, go in peace. You have been seen, you are deeply loved. You are covered through the night. The morning is going to come. It always comes. And when it comes, it will find you, not in the same place the between time has held you, but further along the road that the faithful season has been building toward. Every morning that follows a night of faithful rest is a morning that belongs to the person who worked steadily from morning till now the day before. The harvest is in the morning. The Boaz question is in the morning. The whose young woman is that is in the morning. The I have been told all about what you have done is in the morning. The provision heavier than you expected is in the morning. Sleep now, so that the morning can come and find you ready. Sleep in the full release of the well done. Sleep under the wings. Sleep at the feet of the Redeemer. Sleep as the woman who went in peace. The one who has been watching through every day of your faithful season is watching through this night. Every breath, every movement of the sleeping body, every dream, every moment of the deep, renewing, restoring rest that the faithful person deserves and that the watching God provides. You are not alone. You have never been alone. Not in the field, not at the treasury, not under the fig tree, not in the room that made you uncomfortable, not in the between time, and not tonight, not in this room, not in this breath. I have been here the whole time, watching. in the field, at the treasury, under the fig tree, in the room, in the between time, in this night, in this breath, here. And the watching has not been neutral observation, it has been love. Attentive, specific, never missing, completely personal love that tracked every step of the faithful season and held every unseen moment in the record that cannot be revised. And the watching produced this pride, the specific, moved, running to meet you response of the one who loves what he made and watched it be faithful and was moved by what he saw. I am so proud of you. Sleep in that, in the pride of the one who was watching, in the love that watched, in the well done that the watching produced, in the peace that follows the faithful day, in the rest that is the gift of the keeper who does not sleep. Good night.